All right, so this is a really interesting topic and one that I'm excited to dive into. Today, we're going to be covering why your leads are dying. So, if you're an agent, I think a lot of agents don't realize that there's essentially an expiry date on their leads if they don't have an audience built up on social media, right? So, this could be TikTok, this could be Facebook, Instagram, wherever. I think TikTok is the easiest one to build an audience on right now. But either way, if you don't have an audience, eventually your leads are going to become uninterested in you. They're going to forget about you. And if they haven't responded to you within, 60 days, they're probably not going to end up remembering or caring about you. And you have no way to warm them back up or revive them if you don't have an audience, if you don't have a place that you can take them in, a place that they can continue to be warmed up, even if they aren't ready to buy right now, right? I've spent over like multiple five figures on Facebook lead generation ads and TikTok ads as well, doing this for financial advisors and insurance agents this year. And I've seen, these are like 60 days is kind of basically the cutoff point. I'm going to go into really the timeline here and everything and get super specific with it. But you really have to have an audience in play if you want to maximize the most out of your leads. So I won't waste any more time. I'll just get into the document I have set up and we'll go from there. All right, so what is the average lead life cycle look like then, right? Okay, so like I said, I've spent quite a bit of money on Facebook ads. This is what I've noticed really from the past year, the patterns that I've kind of noticed, and I've compiled it into this document. I'm going to share it with you guys and share how you can avoid this, right? So first of all, the first 1 to 3 days, these are the hottest your leads are ever going to possibly be. Those first 72 hours are crucial. You should almost be spamming people trying to get an appointment or a quote set up. However you do it. I know some people just go straight to a quote. Some people like to do over the phone or over Zoom or even personally meet up. However you like to do it. You should be an email and a text today trying to basically kind of, get them on and convert them after they filled out your form or after they've joined your lead pool. This is when they're the hottest. This is when they're the most likely to convert. Now, days 3 to 7, they might not have seen your message and just needed a little bit more time. They got around to it and then they finally saw it. Leads are still very responsive all throughout this first week, right? So all throughout this first week, you're going to have pretty good response rate with your leads. Now, days 7 to 40, this is kind of this window that you get into here. This day 7 to 40 window, it's really, really like they're not hot, but they're still warm, right? So they may not remember filling out your form in the first place, and you might need to just work a little bit more on re-educating them on who you are. We don't really have this problem anymore within our own, business internally because of all the content that I put out. People have checked it out. They know who I am. They know what I do, right? If you don't have that, it's going to be very difficult for you, and you're going to have to, on the phone, explain this manually. So I think a lot of people, they confuse it, and they think, oh, making all this content is a lot of work, but it's like, yeah, but you're also eliminating, the work that you would have to do being on the phone with somebody, re-educating them and letting them know who you are and what it is that you're actually doing for them. So that's something to keep in mind is you're having this content put up is going to make it a lot easier for you to actually get those quotes in the first place. But yeah, the 7 to 40 day window, this is kind of when the iron is still hot. You should still be striking, but things are definitely starting to cool down, especially from like days 30 to 40. Things are getting a little bit cold. Now, days 40 to 60, these are the last embers at the bottom of the fire pit. This is your last chance to get the leads before they die, right? You might have, like if you got 1,000 leads and they're all over 60 days old that you generated from a campaign, and you follow up with 1,000 of them, you might be able to get 5 of them closed. You know what I mean? That's on a 5 to 10, something like that. Like these leads are pretty dead. They're pretty dead at this point. And unfortunately, like there's a lot of things that you can do here, right? But you can set up more email campaigns and you can try to capture more leads in this campaign in the first few days or the first week. You can shoot out text campaigns, and you can essentially what you can do, and I'm going to get into this fire analogy in a little bit, is you can throw a little bit of gasoline on the fire. You can make it burn a little bit hotter for a bit, but no matter what you do, you're never going to be able to completely and fully sustain that type of a system, right? So let me get into this fire pit analogy. The difference between having no audience and having a developed audience, right? So this lead life cycle as well, keep in mind, this only applies to the old method of doing things, the fire pit, right? So think of it this way. There's two different ways that you have to go about it. Have an audience and no audience. If you have an audience, think of it like a propane fireplace. If you have no audience, think of it like a fire pit, right? It takes quite a bit of effort to get it going, right? A fire in a fire pit. You have a nice warm fire when it does burn, for sure. You can be profitable with your lead gen campaign, but it takes a lot of effort to get it started. And if you leave that fire overnight, it's going to snuff out. Same thing, if you stop spending money on your lead campaign, you're not going to get any more leads. It's done, right? So that's something to keep in mind, is you need to realize, yes, you can do things to make it easier, right? You can pour a little bit of gasoline on the wood beforehand and douse it to make it a little bit easier to light it, right? That doesn't guarantee that the wood's necessarily going to light, but it'll, help things and hopefully speed things along, right? But that's still more effort and more time and more, like, you still have to put a lot of effort into it to kind of get it going, right? So I say that the fire pit is kind of like the old way of doing things, because that's what it is. It takes a lot of effort to, get those first few leads through the door, set up your campaign, make sure everything's right. And unfortunately, these leads have nothing to remember you by, because all they had was an ad and a forum. There's no, maybe you have a website, but how many people are viewing that? You have no YouTube, you have no TikTok, you have no Facebook, or you don't have anything that's very memorable up on there. Sure, like I said, maybe you do have a Facebook, but you had 3 posts from 4 years ago. That fire is just going to snuff out eventually. People aren't warmed up to you. They don't remember who you are, and they don't particularly care. So you're going to lose a lot of leads that are going to leave your pool. Now, that said, this can still be profitable. You can still get a fire out of it. You can keep adding logs to the fire and keep, burning. But eventually, at some point, you do end up wasting a certain amount of money on leads that will never convert, right? Because they expired. They might be leads. Now, it might just be a simple case of a guy who was really interested in whatever it was that you were offering, but his timeline for being able to purchase it is 100 days out from now, right? And by the time that he, is ready to actually purchase, he's not in your audience, in your ecosystem anymore. So he just goes on Google, and since you're not the first result, he finds another guy and goes with him and completely forgot about you. Now, if you had an audience and you were able to keep him in there, right? You already spent money on this guy. If you just had the audience in place, you would have been able to retain him in your audience, and then he would have came to you because he would have remembered and saw your face every day, or at least every other week. You know what I mean? He would have remembered you. But when you don't have an audience set in place, those leads burn out into embers, and they just die eventually. Eventually, they get snuffed out. So that's just the way that it works. Now, having a developed audience. This is like a propane fireplace, right? It's modern. It's easy to start at any time, and you can burn it all day and all night throughout the whole winter to keep you warm. Okay. So you can turn your lead gen off and on with the flip of a switch, because as soon as you have an offer for your audience, as long as you have that audience, it's basically impossible for you to ever go cold, for your leads to ever go cold, and for you to ever be broke at any given point. Let's just say, let's do some real quick math here. I'm going to crunch the numbers. Let's say you have a Facebook group full of 1,000 different people from your community. Okay, so let's do the math. You have 1,000 people in this group, and let's say you regularly do life insurance, but you just came across a new car insurance discount. It's like a promotional holiday thing they're offering, first month is free when you sign up or something like that. Okay. You share it with the people in your Facebook group. Let's say, 20% of them see it. So now you have 200 people who have actually seen it. Let's say another, of those 200 people that actually see it, 25% of them actually leave a comment or reach out to you and message you. So that would be 50 people. And of those, let's say you close another, I don't know, let's say 50% of those, right? So you got 25 people that you've closed out of that 1,000 people from your group who are looking for car insurance that month. Now, let's say the commission that you make on that is $500. You've just made a real easy $12,500 just like that, right? So that's what I mean is you can turn this on and off at any time when you have that audience. And that's just having a Facebook group of 1,000 people. It's not really a whole lot, to be completely honest with you. You can get a lot more than that. So that's something, like I said, to keep in mind is when you have that audience, they stay in your ecosystem, right? You can follow up with these leads years down the line. Just like I told you with the guy who maybe his buying window was 100 days from now, right? So now you're not wasting money on these leads that are maybe not qualified today, but are qualified a lot longer down the line. You can keep them in your ecosystem. You can keep feeding them content. You can keep feeding them whatever else, and they're going to remember you. So this is what you want to do is when you're purchasing these leads, yes, the propane fireplace does take a little bit of money, to keep it on. Like it still takes energy and effort to keep a propane fireplace on, right? It doesn't just come from the sky, that propane. You do have to get that from somewhere. I realize that. But what I'm saying is you can turn that on and off with a switch and it'll go right back to where it was before. You don't have to keep restoking the wood and all this other stuff. Like it'll go right back on and off the same way it was before. Okay? And this is what I mean with these lead gen campaigns. On top of this, the benefits you're going to get are these leads are actually excited to meet with you, because when they've seen your face everywhere every day, or even everywhere every other week, they know who you are. Now you don't have to waste as much time building that trust over the phone, building that kind of rapport, or building that social credit with them. They know who you are. They've seen your content. They've seen what you do. They'll talk to you about it. And you can just get right down to the quote and to the stuff that matters, right? So it's going to be an easier close because they're warmer too. It's not just going to be that you're going to get more leads that are going to come in. You're going to get more leads who are more excited to meet with you. Okay. So that's the kind of the propane fireplace example that I came up with for this. You got to just think of it like that. The old way of doing things, eventually it's going to die out. It's not sustainable. It's not going to be something that's going to last a long time. As soon as you stop feeding that fire, it's going to die out. The propane fireplace is modern for a reason. It works a lot better. It's a lot more efficient. Now we can argue about, not a whole lot of people are roasting marshmallows over the propane fireplace, but that's that's besides the main argument I'm making about lead generation. So although a fire pit is good, for roasting hot dogs, in this case, what we're talking about here for actually generating leads, it's not good to do things the old way. It's good to do things the new way, and not just the new way. You don't want to just do something because it's new. You want to do it because it's sustainable, right? I should actually take the emphasis off it being new. It's sustainable. It just happens to also be newer than the old way of doing things as well. But it's sustainable doing this way. So that's really the word you want to focus on. Is not new, but sustainable. So we actually help you build an audience if that's something that you're looking to do and you're looking to keep your leads warm and have leads in your ecosystem for forever. We build done-for-you multi-dimensional lead generating processes. These are through Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram, as well as lead nurturing processes to help capture more conversions. So we do throw a bit of fire on the gas. We help you make sure that in those first 1 to 3 days, 3 to 7 days, 7 to 40 days, and 40 to 60 days, we have email and text campaigns set up for all those different stages to make sure to maximize the amount of leads that you're actually generating from your campaign, converting, getting on the phone with you, setting up quotes, calls, and doing writings with you. We also help you jumpstart your audience on multiple platforms, because when you're paying for advertising on a platform, it makes it a lot easier to actually get more people into your audience so that you too can have the benefit of running a modern propane fireplace instead of just running on a fire pit on your own. And the best part about the exclusive lead system is as soon as it's completed, we hand it off to you. You can manage it yourself. We'll teach you exactly how to do it. We have multiple courses that you get included for free, teaching you how to manage it. Or we'll pair you with a trained and qualified virtual assistant who will manage the whole thing for you and make improvements. If you're interested in the exclusive lead system, you can drop a comment here on this video, or you can shoot me a DM on pretty much any social media. I'm on them all. To view that, you can just click the link in the description here. Hope that this video was a help to those of you who are struggling a little bit with keeping your leads warm. Hope that it was something that a lot of you who haven't started generating leads yet keep in mind. So start building your audience up now so you don't have to worry about this in the first place. And until then, I'll see you in the next video. Peace.